welcome back to my channel. My name is Vanissia. This is the Woolly Worker Knitting Podcast, and today I'm joining you for a very special episode of the Woolly Worker Knitting Podcast. It is a weekly vlog, 7 days. I film little bits and updates, took you along with me for the ride. It was pretty much a normal week for me. I can't believe it actually has been, I think, 2 years since the last and only weekly vlog. I can't believe I've only done 2 with this one, but I hope you like it. It was a lot of fun and also a lot of work to film, but I thought it'd motivate me to get some progress done on like a lot of projects that I had. So yeah, I did a few swatches, maybe I finished a couple projects. I think it's a really exciting one, and I hope that you enjoy the episode. I'll leave you now to the first day, and then I'll catch you all up at the end of the video. See you soon! Hi guys, so today is Tuesday, it's the morning. I woke up really early, so I just decided to get up, shower and knit before I work. I work from home and I have flexible starting and finishing hours, so usually what I do is that I start early so I can finish early. Then I usually take a nap after work and then straight back to knitting. So yeah, I thought that to start off this little weekly vlog, I would do some of the knitting chores that I've been thinking of doing. I thought I'd also tell you all what I'm intending to do this week, although as you probably know from watching these types of videos, it doesn't always happen the way that you think it will. But yeah, the plan is that I want to ideally, in this week, finish the sleeve of my Nimbus sweater from Jessie Made. If you watched my previous video on my whips currently on the needles, you'll know that I've got quite a lot of sleeves to do. So that one has been picked up first out of all of the sleeves that I have, and it's already working up fast. Like, I was working on it yesterday and I realized I can pretty much finish this in a couple of days. So I'll be working on that today, is that sleeve, and then I will unravel the beginning of a project. It was the Lakes Tea by Ozetta. It was just like a little saddle shoulder. I was kind of using that as my swatch. I don't really know why I left that project alone for a while, but I just thought I'd repurpose the yarn for that one. It was Knitting for Olive cotton merino in lamb's ears. I think it's like just a nice grey, and I have 4 balls. I was gonna make a t-shirt, and then I realized in my stash I have a matching yarn, which is Isager alpaca one, the lace weight one, and it pretty much is an exact match. And I thought I'd pair those two together, make a gauge swatch to see what kind of gauge I have, and I thought I would make a blouse for summer. I've been really inspired by my blouse number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and I've been wanting to have another blouse, so I've been perusing Ravelry. I saw a couple patterns from Petite Knit and Ozetta that have this really relaxed neckline and airy gauge, summer yarns, long sleeves though, to really be versatile over the seasons. So I thought I would swatch basically, and block and everything, and then see where we go, because I have that stash and I've ordered some yarn actually, and those 2 quantities are contenders for summer blouses. There's 2 patterns I like, so I'll see who matches what more basically. And the yarn I've ordered is also some Knitting for Olive merino to finish my pressed flowers shawl that I was showing you on that episode as well. I sadly ran out of yarn during the border, which was expected and frustrating. I decided to just bite the bullet and purchase that extra skein of yarn that I need. I have no idea how much I will need, because clearly I'm bad at estimating quantities. I feel like I'm only gonna slightly bite into it, but for all I know I'll end up using most of it, so I don't know what I'll be doing with the leftover of that. But that has been ordered, so hopefully that'll come this week, and I'll be able to continue filming and finish the pressed flowers shawl. I don't think it's too crazy for me to say that I could finish it, even though the rows are getting extremely long. But apart from that, I've picked up the sleeve of my Pink Velvet by Andrea Maury. It's a fingering way project. The original pattern asks for 3/4 length sleeves. I might be doing full length. So I just picked it up with magic loop with my wooden needles and did a couple of rounds. It wasn't super enjoyable. Definitely not liking this magic loop situation. So I think I might try and see if I could just do it on mini needles. That might just be more enjoyable for me. But at least it's been picked up, so that's great. And I'm trying to think if there's any other. Oh yeah, there's the Miletus top, which again, if you want to hear more about that, check out the previous video. The Miletus top is almost finished. I just have to do the I-cords for the neck opening and the two armholes. That should not be too hard or too time consuming, so I think that that could be all done and dusted this week. I'll be doing that and then blocking it and then weaving all the ends. Maybe even take some photos depending on the weather, but no promises there because it's been really terrible, so not looking forward to going outside in a tank top. But yeah, so that's the projects I intend to do this week. I hope that you enjoy following along, see if anything new comes up. I might cast on something new, although I probably won't unless I'm too excited by the new yarn and I just like gauge swatch it and cast on right away. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I've been going back into my Ravelry favorite and queue to see what was inspiring me before, see if it still inspires me, and if I want to cast on something that I've planned a month ago, or if I just want to go on like the Ravelry Hot Right Now page and see if there's anything new that I fancy. But yeah, so I'll be knitting now for maybe an hour or so, log on to work, and I'll probably just put in some clips of myself today, and I'll catch up with you tonight, hopefully with good progress on the Nimbus and on that little gauge swatch that I was telling you about. See you soon! Do you need help actually? Oh, be careful with the branches! Yay! here's the first evening update from me. It was a really productive day, actually. I think I've got that first day of vlogging energy where I end up doing most of the chores I set out to do, so that's great. Start with the easiest. I've done my little grey swatch. So as a reminder, this is made with Knitting for Olive, Cotton Merino, and the Isair Alpaca 1. And as you can see, they're like pretty much an exact match in terms of hue, tone, shade. And oopsie, the swatch that they create together is very non-marled. It's a very unified color, just a very neutral light grey that I think will suit me. Granted, it's not the most exciting summer color, but if I pair it with a nice flowery or a colorful skirt, I think it'll be nicely balanced with a grey like that. In terms of the gauge, I didn't measure it just here after blocking, but I know that before blocking I was at 18 stitches, which is not the gauge I wanted. I wanted 20. I had already sized down a needle compared to the Sadie sweater pattern. So basically this would be a good gauge for the Sibilla blouse by Petite Knit, but I really would prefer to use this grey for the Sadie sweater by Ozetta. And this is partly because in terms of yarn quantities, I have more of this, and the pattern is supposed to be using up more yarn for this compared to the other one. And then I guess that's pretty much the only reason that I want that is for the yarn quantities. I think I could obviously just size down, do the size extra small instead of small. Just make sure that when I do the yoke, just check that it's not majorly oversized. I intend to go down one more needle size and to use my wooden needles instead of the metal ones that I've used. The yarn was pretty slippery as well, so I think it'll make the experience smoother if I do this change. I think it was 3.75, so I need to use my 3.5 bamboo needles. I'm not going to re-swatch, I will just cast on, and I probably will do that tomorrow. So that's exciting. Yeah, we'll see what the rest of the project looks like then, because the gauge is, yeah, pretty loose, but for like a summery blouse, I think this could work. So yeah, cautiously optimistic about that one. Then the other success of the day was finishing the Nimbus sweater. It literally took 2 days. I cast on the sleeve yesterday and I finished it. If I remember correctly, I don't have a memory of doing that, but I think I blocked the sweater without the sleeve. I think I may have done that just to get the measurements to give as a feedback for the test knit. I don't remember doing it, but I think I must have, and it looks pretty blocked and even. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I will just block the sleeve that I've done, just because there's no point in reblocking the entire sweater. I haven't even worn it yet. To be honest, yeah, I think it is this sleeve that I've done, because you can see the cables are a bit chunkier, maybe, whereas on this one, it has been flattened. So if we do a little side-by-side comparison, yeah, those are definitely chunkier. So yeah, I very satisfyingly was able to tick off the completed project on Ravelry, and that is one of the sweaters finally completed. So only 3 more to go, and those ones have 2 sleeves to do. I think this is what I'm going to do tonight, is I'm just going to pick up that pink velvet that I showed you this morning. Like I said, I wasn't super happy with the experience of knitting with the wooden needles on Magic Loop, so I'm just going to try and transfer that over to a 325mm metal mini needles. I hope that this will work. I'll finish the evening off by just doing as many rounds as I can be bothered doing while I watch a show on Netflix. This is just going to be a mindless stockinette project, because I will tackle the Miletus top tomorrow to pick up for the I-cord. I just don't want to do that tonight. But I'm really chuffed with how today went. As you can see from the footage, I did a bit of indoor gardening with my houseplants. I was in the mood. I've been watching some houseplants videos on YouTube recently and hearing some really good tips about propagation and pruning, and I just got really motivated. So that was that, and I took a nap in the day because I was really tired. Tomorrow should be pretty much the same as today, just probably start work early, finish early, take a nap, keep knitting all throughout the evening and the afternoon. There's no plans for Wednesday, but Thursday we're going out in the evening, so that'll be exciting. But yeah, I'll catch you all tomorrow. Maybe not in the morning because they'll not really be different than what I just said right now. So maybe I'll just catch you tomorrow evening to show you if I listened to my own advice and tackle the Melidus top and hopefully have some more rows on this bad boy. But yeah, see you soon. Hello, it's Thursday. I didn't film any update yesterday, but it's time to catch you all up a little bit on what I've been up to. So yesterday was just a regular, normal day, not done much, just went on a little walk, said hi to the duckies, and completed some tasks knitting related. I blocked my Nimbus sweater, you may have seen the shot. Sadly, I have a feeling that I miscalculated how many rounds and cables I had to do, and I think I made the sleeve slightly longer than the previous one. There's like the alternating cables, and the other sleeve I have 6 and 6, like sort of like staggered, and then on this one I've got 6, and I think I counted 7 on the other column, so I think I may have, like, sadly 2-3 centimeters longer on the other sleeve. When I blocked it, I only blocked that sleeve that I had done, the new one, so I didn't wet the entire sweater, and I tried to like sort of widen it so that it would shorten, because obviously like you can only add length in one direction. If you're pulling it widthwise, it'll shrink a bit lengthwise and vice versa. So I tried to do that. We'll see when it's dry if it's visible, the fact that there's a big sleeve like disparity, but if it is a problem, I think I'll take the hit and I will rip it back and redo it. The ribbing really didn't take long to do, like the whole sleeve only took 2 days. So I think, even though I really hate frogging and I'm not one to usually do it, for something that would be so quick to fix, I will do it. So that's that, and I'm really happy that it's done. Then, as you will have seen, I've also done some progress on my pink feather sweater by Andrea Maury. What I didn't tell you was that I had 2 balls of the yak color, the yak yarn in the purple color. So I used only 1 ball to do the entire body, and I had a little bit left. So what I did is that I started doing the sleeve normally with that last ball I had, and then sort of halfway here I started doing helical knitting with the new ball of yarn that I'm planning to use, just to make sure that if there were any dye-lot differences that it would merge. And I think you can't tell any sort of micro striping at all in the sleeve. I won't be able to do that on the other sleeve obviously, because I'll just have that second ball of yarn and nothing to marl it with. But I took the notes of another raveler who suggested doing no increases for the whole first half of the sleeve, so up until the elbow, and then starting to decrease afterwards. I thought that'd be a good idea because people have complained a lot about the sleeve being too tight. So I did 6 inches of knitting, just straight stockinette in the round. It had been incredibly faster on my, this is my smallest normal cable, and I was able to just continue on as normal. But as I'm doing decreases, I will have to switch to the minis. And yeah, now I've decided to do a decrease every 10 rounds basically, and to do that all the way down to the wrist and do some ribbing. I'm deciding to do full length sleeve because based on the yarn consumption, it's definitely going to be enough for me to do that without worrying. I just think I prefer long sleeves than 3/4, especially for something that I would wear in the kind of like weather where it requires like such a fluffy sweater. So that's going really well. I'm surprised at how fast that actually was to do. Um, I hope it's not slowing me down to switch to the minis in the future. But yeah, I'm actually having a lot of fun doing this project, even though at first I was put off by having to do the magic loop. So definitely learning a lot about what I prefer. And yeah, really looking forward to having this finished. I probably will do some more progress before the end of the week on this one. That's not going to get abandoned, even though at first I thought it'd be like a filler project. This is actually one that I'm like wanting to pick up and do at night. And then the other project that I cast on yesterday that I will talk about now is the Sadie sweater by Ozetta. So I just bought the pattern yesterday, and like I said, I am not doing the same needle size that I had on my swatch because I found it too gapey and holy. So I've sized down needles. I'm now on some wooden 3.5, and I've just cast on, and the short rows for the back, it's really hard to show because it's all curly, but I've just finished the short rows, so now it's just time to do some good old back and forth knitting until the back is the right size for that panel, and then I'll be picking up stitches on either side of the left and the right front and do the fronts and cast on for the neck, etc. It's really familiar doing Ozetta's patterns. I always really like them. I really like that style of pattern writing, and it's easy to follow. Oh, there we go, the yarn just fell from the desk. But yeah, the pattern is nice and easy to follow, and I'm enjoying that. However, the yarn itself, because it has the cotton from the cotton merino, it just lacks that little bit of stretchiness and give. So I'm finding it a little harder on my fingers and my wrist because there's like some resistance, I feel. I hoped it wouldn't be too much of a problem because when I knitted that other thing, like the Lakes Tea saddle shoulder thing, I don't remember it being a huge pain to work with, but it is definitely different than just knitting with merino alone. But having the alpaca as another strand, and obviously having the fact that it's half merino, I think is much better than if I were to knit with cotton linen alone. Definitely liking having some merino in the mix. But that's fine, it's not a huge problem, it just means I probably won't work on it for hours in a row. So it's good to have those different projects to alternate. And no update on the Melides top. I've just not been wanting to pick it up for the I-cords, but hopefully I'll be doing that later in the week. I won't commit to saying what day I'm going to do that, because right now I'm just having a lot of fun with those two projects. And the extra yarn I've ordered for the pressed flowers shawl has been shipped, so hopefully it'll arrive very soon and I'll be able to pick back up my pressed flowers shawl. To be honest, once that arrives, I probably will give up on everything else that I'm working on and just like hyper focus on the shawl. So that's why I'm going to try and do as much progress as I can on this sleeve and this Sadie sweater, because I know that I'll neglect them when the new yarn comes. But yeah, that's the update for today. We're going out to Stirling in Scotland later today. We're going to go to, well, I'm getting my hair done, so that's exciting. Show you a little before and after. And then we're going to get sushi and have cocktails and then have karaoke. So we've been wanting to go to this place for ages. We went there in December 2024. So that was like a year and a half ago. And we had such a good time, and we always said we should definitely go back because it's not that inconvenient to go. It's just like a half hour on the train, and there's trains until like 11:30 at night. And we just never did, and it's a shame because we had the best time. It's a kind of karaoke where like you can see your place in the queue, so like you know that your song is going to come up at some point. There's another karaoke that we do where you just don't know if you're going to get pulled like out of the hat at all. So it's really nerve-inducing because you just don't even know if you're like up next or not. But yeah, now looking forward to having sushi and cocktails. We've been wanting to do a date night for forever, and now is the time. So that's why I'm all dolled up. And I don't think I'll be doing any more knitting today then, because that's a packed afternoon and evening schedule. But hopefully I'll catch up with you on Friday, and if not, definitely on Saturday for another little face-to-face update. But just enjoy the clips of our day. Hello, so it's Saturday morning. I've not updated you in a little while, so I thought I'd quickly sit down and chat before I meet a friend for coffee at my favourite cafe in Linlithgow where I live. And yeah, so in the end, on Thursday, we ended up taking an early night, and after cocktails we just went home. No karaoke, sadly, but maybe next time. So not a lot of knitting was done that day. And then I did manage to visit a sewing shop that sells sewing machine. I've been kind of itching to maybe dip my toes into it, and I thought the best way to start would be to go in person to a real shop and ask for advice about what kind of machine would be best suited for my needs, for what I want to do. So that was actually really insightful. I had a great chat with the staff, and I'm keeping all of that in mind. I'll keep watching a few videos on YouTube and maybe take a class over summer because I really learn best in like a formal teaching environment. So yeah, stay tuned maybe for in the medium future some updates on like beginning my sewing journey, possibly. But yeah, this is a under wraps for now. Anyway, so it was a lovely day in Stirling. Got my hair done, which was quite a long time, so that's maybe why I was a bit too tired to then do karaoke afterwards. Maybe I shouldn't have put so many like events back to back in one day. So yeah, we went home. I got my yarn from my ivory room, so I was able to then pick back up the shawl that had been put on ice, the pressed flowers shawl. Then on Friday, it was a day of errands. We went out to like a retail park, had some lunch at Nando's, picked up a bit of home decor at TK Maxx and Dunelm. Got some nice bed sheets on sale. Yeah, it's really hard. Those shops take ages because you're just getting like distracted by all the other like aisles and stuff. But yeah, it was a nice day, but again, it was a lot of errands back to back. And then when we came home, I was a bit too tired to like really do any like updates like that. But I did manage to knit a little bit on my project. So I'll update you now on these. The Sadie sweater by Ozetta, I'll show you like on my pin. So this is where the short rows ended, here where the pin is, and so all of that is just like stockinette, and you're meant to do that for like about twice the length that you did this middle part for. So overall I think I've got about like 20 more rounds to go, and that'll be like the back panel before basically you will start to then join under the arms, I think. So yeah, you can see it's not that far to go before you have to join. So yeah, it's been fine. I'm happy I modified my needle size compared to the previous project, because the gauge here seems much more reasonable in terms of like looseness, and it still feels pretty airy. So that's going well, and it's nice to have like a portable size project that is just stockinette, because I was missing that at the moment. Then I still did a few rounds on the sleeve of my pink velvet, so that's fine. I'm still able to do it on the needles, even though I've decreased like 3 times already, but I'll just keep decreasing and see when I have to switch to the needles that I don't like. And then the pressed flowers shawl, I'll try and quickly show you the border. It's such an unwieldy project, but yeah, this is, oh, that's lovely. So that's the border. As you can see, I finished one flower, almost finished a second flower, and obviously have started like the next round of them being interlocked. It's a little harder than the pattern here. Like, I feel like I've got to check the chart a bit more just to make sure I'm not making any mistakes. I really don't want to have to frog and go back some rounds for that. And as you can see here on the normal part, the edge is always even, and you just have like a flower a little bit away from the edge, whereas here, like, the flower is kind of like starting on the I cord, which is not like the prettiest, but I don't think it's too noticeable. But yeah, because here there was always like a gap between the border and the flower, like the I cord and the flower, and here sometimes the I cord stitches are side by side with the flower stitches. That's why I have to make sure that I'm like purling or knitting on the wrong side row, whether it's like a filler stitch or like an actual flower stitch. So yeah, just a little bit trickier, have to pay more attention. But yeah, like I was predicting, it is very addictive to get back to this. I really just, like, when I'm sitting down, I want to do as many like full rows as possible. I never want to end mid-row. So yeah, and there's no difference in dialogue between like the new yarn and the old yarn, the pink one. And it's nice to see the contrasting yarn have like a bit of shine through. Like, you can even see more the colors of it in the border. So yeah, I saw a couple projects where like either they did, let's imagine, like 4 flowers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that was the end. And I saw one that had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or maybe even 6. So I don't know how big to make the border. Obviously, I'm partly influenced by, well, how much more do I want to knit on this? But I think also proportion-wise, I don't want the border to be too thin or too thick. So I think once I reach the part where I'm almost done with 4 flowers, I'll lay it down on the floor and see visually if it feels right to stop there, or if it needs a bit more heft and weight to it. Because obviously here right now, like, that looks good, but that's not nearly as, like, there's so much more pink happening down there. So yeah, but I'm happy to have still chosen the switch in contrasting color. I think it really adds interest to this project, and it's just more interesting for me as well to like have switched colors, and it's not as repetitive as this was becoming. So yeah, no progress on the Miletus top. I think what's likely to happen is that I will not do the I cord on the Miletus. I just don't want to. It doesn't sound fun to me right now, so I won't force myself to do that. But I'll keep trying as much as I can to finish the pressed flower shawl, because that would be a really good wrap up to this weekly vlog. I'll do a swatch with my new pink yarn that you may have seen in some clips. The palette yarn from this year is definitely like all natural material. I think it's just cotton. Okay, I can just have it here. So it is 100% cotton, and you can definitely tell, like, it is like, it's kind of flat actually, like kind of like a tagliatelle. So that might be quite hard on my hands, because that's paired with trio, which is also, I remember, like super stiff and like it has no give. So this might be a project that I need to be careful not to like overdo it and knit too much on in a row, but I think it'll be done quite fast because the gauge is really open. So I'll probably do a swatch with that maybe tonight or tomorrow and show that on the podcast. That's exciting, or like this vlog. So yeah, I think overall what I'm focusing on right now is definitely my pressed flowers shawl and the Sadie sweater, and those are the 2 projects that I'm going to try and get a lot of work done over the weekend. I had a good idea for a video, so I might try and film a podcast or like a video tonight. I might or this afternoon, I might show you some clips of it, like behind the scenes, and then this is actually the video that you're gonna see, like, on Monday while I'm still filming this vlog. So the vlog will come afterwards. So if everything goes according to plan, you might have already seen the video that I'm talking about, that I'm thinking of doing. So that's spooky. So yeah, I'm a bit late, which is why I feel a bit rambly. I need to go and walk to the cafe. But I'll meet you back probably tonight, or maybe just tomorrow morning for another weekend update. See you soon! So hello, yes, I am back now. This is a week later since I filmed the intro, and yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this vlog. It's now Monday evening, just winding down for the day, and I thought I'd basically summarize what happened this week, show you little peeks and summarize what has happened knitting wise. I hope that you enjoyed this vlog. Like I said, it feels really weird to have filmed so much and to not have been able to like post any of it until like much later. But yeah, in terms of the knitting, I'm really happy with what I've done. Like, I had big intentions at the start. I know I was a little bit all over the place with the ideas and the projects, and pretty much everything that I set out to do I did, and then a little bit more. So overall there were two swatches. Let me just get them. So we had this swatch in cotton merino and alpaca 1 for the Sadie sweater by Ozetta. The first swatch, well, this one didn't work out exactly like I wanted. It was too large, so I learned from this and I ended up going down the needle size and also changing from metal to wooden needles. And I have now cast on the project that this goes with, so the Sadie sweater. And here it is. So I've just joined the left and the right front, and I'm just going to keep working down that front panel until it has the same length as the back, and then we will join all of that in the round. Looks a little small at the moment. I mean, it kind of does, but also like I did pick the smallest size and I don't want it to be too oversized, so I think it'll be just fine. The neck is like a nice boat neck. It doesn't have any other finishes, I don't think. So yeah, it's working quite fast. It's very addictive. I like the way it's working up, and I don't actually find the project to be that hard to work on the hands with the cotton merino and the alpaca. So this is actually really enjoyable to work on, and right now it's like my nice comforting project that I can just like knit stockinette on. So yeah, that's been going really well. And then the second swatch is with yarn that arrived midweek. This is Isier Trio and Palette held together, and it creates this beautiful blush pink color. I think it's going to be so, so, so good for summer. I can't wait to wear this blouse. This is for the Sevilla blouse by Petite Knit. The gauge is looser than the previous one, so this is an 18 stitch gauge. I think I'm going to be making the size extra small instead of the small, just again to avoid too much looseness, and I am trying to save on yarn. I only bought 2 balls of the trio and not 3. I'm hoping to have enough, and because the edges are kind of like rolled instead of, well, actually there is a little bit of ribbing, but like really a tiny bit. So I think that I'll be able to estimate yardage wise, like if I have to stop the sleeves short or something. But that's putting myself a bit too much ahead because we only have a swatch, but it's really, really nice, and I'm glad I've got this one here to keep nearby to remind me that I'm looking forward to casting on this next one. Usually when I make a swatch, I don't wait too long to cast on the project. In terms of finished items, I had set out the goal to finish the Nimbus sweater by Jessie Made, and that is done. We've got it here. I just needed to add a sleeve, and that was done pretty much on like day 2, so that's really cool. Like I said, I don't know if I've said that, but I think one of the sleeves is now longer than the other one, but I've tried it on and I couldn't really tell a difference because when I blocked it, I made sure to like sort of squish it into place in the dimensions. So I think it's as great as it is, and I will not do a full reveal right now. I'll wait until next week to do like some finished item photos with Ross, and I will show you better shots of it on the regular podcast episode next week. And then the other finished item was the pressed flowers shawl, which I am so excited about. It turned out exactly like I wanted. It's really big. It's going to be really nice and cozy. It's blocking right now. It's really almost done, and I just thought I would not show you it on the floor because it deserves better. So if you're curious to see how that all turned out after I bound off with Icelandic bind off and blocked it, then please stay tuned for next week and you'll see it in all its glory. The Miletus top I did not do at all. I didn't feel the motivation really come in midweek, so I just kind of shelved it and decided I wasn't going to do it at all, and then I just didn't put any pressure on myself and didn't feel like I had to do it just for this video, so that was fine. I'm hoping to do that before the next podcast though, so you're not seeing it today, but you might see it in next week's podcast because it really should be a quick win. I keep saying that, but like I said, that I'm casting on a couple more projects at the moment, so I really want to have something that is off the needles to balance it a little bit. In other news, I continued my Sleeve Island journey by continuing on with my Pink Velvet by Andrea Mowry. When we started chatting last Tuesday, I had picked up the sleeves and had started doing things in Magic Loop, and I really didn't like it, so I switched over to some regular needles, and that was much better. I did like half the sleeve in stockinette, and then I started doing some decreases, and now I've had to borrow those needles, so I've actually took the plunge and I've moved it over to like the minis from Gu, and it's okay, it's not that bad, it's still easy enough and like more smooth than Magic Loop. So I'll show you the progress of that sleeve. Yep, here's where we are. So the jumper, like that's the body, and then that's the sleeve. So as you can see, lots of progress since last time, and this is a fingering weight jumper, but it's actually not been that hard at all. So as you can see, I've got 5 little decreases. I think I want to go up to 9, and then I think it'll be time for ribbing. But yeah, I think this is great. I'm gonna try and keep this out so I can work on it as and when, trying not to completely forget about it. Like the yell right now is like shelved, but I think I should be able to finish this not too long, because again, I'm trying to leave room for new things. And one of these new things, which was a complete spanner in the works, I was not expecting any of this to happen, but I have been accepted into a testnet for a designer that I've not testnetted for before or knit any of her projects before, so that's all new for me. I hope that you're as excited as I am. It's a popular designer, she's got really great patterns out there. I think most of the reason I didn't do her patterns was because they were like in a big gauge, like worsted most often, and I prefer DK or fingering. And so this is a fingering weight test knit. It is also with a yarn I've not worked with before. It's Explore Knits and Fiber. If you've been here on the podcast for a while, you'll know I did like a year ago an order with Jo from Designs Made by Jo. I've mentioned her last week in my video. She and I ordered from like an Explore Knits and Fiber update, like stash update, stock update, and so that was worth like paying the shipping and everything. So yeah, so it's been sitting in my stash for a while. It's really gorgeous as a skein, but I thought like this is great actually. The yardage is exactly what I need for this project. So I've knitted a little swatch. This is a merino and cashmere sock base, so it's really soft. This is actually pretty much the same color as my Maggie cardigan by Petite Knit, which was actually made in 100% cashmere from Cardiff Cashmere. I'll put a photo here of what I'm talking about. I hope that they're not like exactly the same, but it's funny to me that like the two items in my wardrobe that will have this color are like cashmere. But yeah, I think I'm gonna be on gauge for this. This is with 3.25mm needles, and I'm trying to get 24 stitches per 4 inches, and it's a little bit damp right now. I've just blocked it, and I really hope that I can just cast on very soon, and I will tell you all about it in next week's podcast. Again, I'm being very cryptic, but yeah, I don't want to steal all the information and then have nothing new to say in the next podcast. But yeah, I hope that this week was good and not too repetitive to have like day after day after day like the same update. Let me know what you thought about this. I thought it was quite a lot to film, so maybe next time I do something like that, I won't do a whole week and I will just do maybe like a long weekend next time that I have one. Let me know if that like is okay for you to watch, or if you really prefer to have like more weighty updates. Like here in a week I was able to do more obviously than what I would be able to do in a weekend. Let me know if you liked the little tiny tidbits of personal life clips, like my little errands, like tour, plant care, food. Like I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, so maybe I'd really like some feedback on whether like that was too much, or you don't mind, or not enough of it, or if you really would just prefer like entirely a week of knitting and you don't want to see anything else, because that's also a very valid thought. But yeah, I had a lot of fun filming and documenting the journey. It's always nice to like watch those videos back like a year or so afterwards, because it really is a little snapshot into what life is really like, and like the decor and like how I was spending my days. And yeah, it was a little hard to keep filming every day, and so I didn't do like those verbal updates every day, but it was nice to have something to keep me accountable for, like, yeah, I wanted to finish that shawl and I did, and so that feels really good. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing this, and yeah, I think that's everything that I've got to say for today, and I'll see you all next week for the podcast. I hope you're doing well wherever you are, and see you all next time. Bye!